This podcast is sponsored by Tusk, a continuity of business solution for industries that struggle with traditional banking. Check them out on the web at tusk.network. The Rob McNealy program is the nexus of cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and entrepreneurship. Now, welcome to the program. We are talking. This is going to go crazy today. All right, I'm not even going to edit this out. All right, today we're talking.
Go for it.
Justin Clark of Veterans Referring Veterans. All right, let me start. Let me try this again. Today we're talking to Justin Clark of Veterans Referring Veterans. And I am so excited to have him on the show today. We've been having a good time talking off air, but I really am excited about this project and what they're doing. I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment, big supporter of the veteran community, and Justin's been doing something really, really important for the veteran community. So, Justin, how are you doing today?
Good, Rob. Thanks for having me, buddy. I'm glad you remembered my name.
I had to do it 3 times, so you know.
Yeah, doing good, man. I appreciate it, and it was great because obviously with the VRV, that's how you and me got to meet. So it's doing good things already.
So all right, so a little bit of background about you, and then let's roll into what you're doing with VRV.
Yeah, absolutely. So originally from Colorado, joined the military when I was 19. Joined the Air Force. I was a F-16 crew chief. So for those that don't know, I was a mechanic on F-16s.
So you wiped the butt of the plane when it pooped out. You wiped its butt. Fixed it, made it work.
Exactly. Okay. And sweeping it. Right. Yep. And just sweeping up that pee too. Had
to give it a car wash.
Yeah.
Out the bird poop off the windshield.
Yeah, we were. Oh no, there's bird strikes, man. We were scrubbing it off, man. So yeah, fun times from changing motors to F-16 wheels to you name it. We were the guys out front marshaling the aircraft. So it was fun. A lot of awesome people.
Where were you stationed? Did you go anywhere fun?
I had a horrible time in Aviano, Italy. Was my first duty station.
A horrible time in Italy. That's tough. Tough. Italy.
It was horrible there. I mean, we
imagine.
would literally throw a dart on a map when we would have like 3-day weekends or something, and we would just drive. And this is, of course, back before Google Maps. So Today, I don't know how the heck we did it, but we did. But it was fun. So, and then, duty-wise, duty stations, Aviano. Then I went to Korea for a year, Osan. Then I went to Hill stateside in Utah.
Yay.
And then I was there for like 8 years. Kids were born there.
You were at Hill 8 years?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I lost a bet. And then
I like Utah. I like living here.
No, it was good. I like Utah. I love Utah.
But you lived in Ogden, so you know.
Ogden. Yeah, we had it was a high tempo with what we were doing and everything out there. So, but a lot of good friends out there. Still have a ton out there. And then I went to California, Edwards Air Force Base, a test base out there, which was really, really cool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and then I got med retired out just at like 17 years. Got medically retired, so I got full retirement and all that. But so that was that because we had a couple deployments. I actually lost my fingers on my birthday back in 2004.
Did you find them?
No, they're still over fighting the good fight over in Iraq.
How'd you lose your fingers?
Well, I didn't really lose them. I guess they got cut off.
Oh, well, it's, I guess, better than misplacing them.
So it's like 2 a.m. We're at LSA Anaconda or Balad, which is like 30 miles north of Baghdad. And we had an F-16 fuel tank, big giant. If you look up a picture of an F-16, it looks like a big giant bomb. But actually, it's a big fuel tank that's on there, right? Fuel tank. The back fin. Actually, I have one over there. Actually, I can grab it. The back fin, not sharp whatsoever, and we were interlocked underneath the thing because we just didn't have the right equipment. And ended up coming down, long story short, clipping off my fingers. So, yeah, so here I'll get a little joke for you for those that watch it. So I got raising the bar. I can do this. and I got paper, rock, and safety scissors. So
Oh,
for those
dude.
that can't see, I'm losing my middle finger and ring finger. They're at the top joint there. They got amputated off. So it was a
Ouch.
good time. But yeah, so that happened. Everything happens for a reason, you know. And I met some really cool guys. I got to see that side of the war, the medevac process, just absolutely incredible. So still in touch with some of the guys over there, and that I got medevaced out with, and you know, my injury could have been so much worse, and it's really, you know, I have fun with it now, and you own it, and you know, it helps me understand others that on that side of the war, because getting pulled out of it, I think a lot of people think, you know, one thing like, oh, you got out of the war, but it's not like that. It was really, really, really hard to leave, because you just never know if, you know, if a mortar round comes in or whatever comes in, and you could have been the one to help save your friend or do whatever. So it was a fun emotional experience on top of the physical one.
Well, I mean, that's life changing. I mean, let's
Right.
start there. I mean, it's not like you had a bad day, right? I mean, this is like something that's going to change you forever. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I think some people can, and it sounds like you've coped, you're emotionally
Oh
dealing with
yeah.
it. But a lot of people have a really hard time with that. You
No,
know?
and they, yeah, and not everybody's a perfect square that where whatever they teach, you know, from therapists, they're all great people, don't get me wrong, but a lot of these guys, you know, like even for me, they sat me down and they wanted me to talk to some stranger who I had no idea. They just talk about all my experiences, you know, not even in Iraq, but the other deployments and this and that. And it's just, you just don't, you like, it's just really awkward, and you just don't want to open up to these guys. But for me, it was like fishing. Fishing was my therapy. I rediscovered it in California, and that is my therapy. And there's so many other vets that are out there that fishing is their thing too. And what's cool with this VRV that we'll talk about later too, though, is there's so many guys that use different forms of therapy for what they're dealing with or how to cope with it, you know, from powerlifting to painting rocks. There's all sorts of things. I'm learning of new guys. I just had another guy actually join up 2 or 3 days ago, and they do paddle boarding down in Long Beach or Irvine. And that's, you know, when I put that post out, I probably had like 5 or 6 people hit me up like, oh my gosh, that's what I love to do too, and this and that builds little communities within that. So it's pretty cool. So
And, you know, when it comes down to like, you know, people dealing with trauma and, you know, everybody's got their, you know, I think everybody's a basket case for some reason. It just, nobody wants to admit it. Right.
right.
At least a lot of vets will admit, yeah, I'm a basket case and this is how I deal with it. But I think, you know, a lot of it is just, you know, it's figuring out how to calm yourself down.
Right.
And that's a lot of what therapy is. It's like, how do you calm yourself? How do you,
Right.
you know, turn down that you know, I mean, especially someone who's, you know, and I've not been in combat, you know, thank goodness, but it's like, you know, it's like your nerves, at least from how it's been described to me, is that you're under stress constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in your sense of awareness and you're just you're just like, you're on all the time, but that takes a toll on you too, right? Because now you got to shut it off. They come back home, it's like, oh, we're in the bubble of like la la la, everybody's a snowflake, unicorn land, right? And it's like, how do you shut that down? And
Yeah.
you know, I think that's where people struggle, I think, is figuring that out.
No, you're absolutely right, because you go from, you know, you're going 100 miles per hour to all of a sudden, you know, you're trying to find a parking space, and you're like, it's crazy.
Get out of my way.
and it's you know, and what's really cool about all these organizations down here, because honestly, when I took off the uniform, you know, I was like, man, I don't want to deal anything with military. I don't want to see a uniform. I don't want any of that. I just want to do my own thing. I want to, you know, be separate. I didn't, you know, you see a lot of guys wearing the whole, I say, thank me for my service stuff all the time. And that wasn't me. I didn't want to be distinguished within like that aspect of it. But then I slowly came around to it. It was actually funny. One of the guys that is this program called Project Healing Waters, he had heard about me and he came down and talked to me and said, hey, you need to come down to this program. And it's fly fishing for veterans. And I was like, I can't tie ties anymore or anything like that. And I was kind of like, no, whatever. This is not for me, whatever. It took me about a year, And then I got into the program after a year when they first initially reached out, and oh my gosh, absolutely amazing. And that really was like my start to kind of accept, like really get in with the veteran community, where I think when these guys step out, there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of negativity surrounding the veteran community. Like, oh, everybody's just super angry. Everybody wants to go out and drink and blah, blah, blah. Well, really, there's a much bigger community. Like, and that's, I'm not saying, you know, everybody's kind of got their things and this and that. But with this, what I've kind of been discovering is a lot of guys, if they have their issues or they have whatever disabilities or whatever they may have, they own it. And then I always say, like, what's the next step? What are you going to do next? You know, it's great, rather than, you know, kind of sitting at home and, you know, what's, you know, what entitlement can I get for me or this and that? And I hope I don't piss off too many people with that. But I see a lot of people looking for handouts, and I get it, but I really like people to, everybody's got great aspects and value that they can use, and I really want to see what they can do and get out there, and especially meeting new people and meeting different organizations and nonprofits that can help them out. So,
well, I mean, I think what you're describing a little bit is that employee versus entrepreneur mindset, which gets us into what we're talking about today. So let's talk about that. So what are you doing? What tell me what you're doing. What's Veterans Referring Veterans about?
So Veterans Referring Veterans, veteransreferringveterans.com, or the VRV. We are a web-based directory for veteran-owned businesses. So from like, I want to say my goal is to be as big as Angie's List, but just for veteran businesses. I don't care what your business is. We've got lawyers, laser engravers, carpet cleaners, general contractors, woodworkers, you name it. Any and everybody that's a vet, I'd love for them to be on here so they can get shined on a difference.
Well, what is VRV? So tell me about it.
So basically,
so you go to the website. What am I doing there?
You go to the website. You don't have to jump through hoops. You can search. You can find whatever businesses that are out there. We've got 125 different members on there, from coffee to the wood engravers and all that. But in their listings themselves, they're called listings. So when I say it's a web-based directory, it's not your Yellow Pages directory where it's just names down a list. It's more personal than that. So people can upload like up to 12 photos. So if
I'm a veteran and I'm an entrepreneur and I want to market myself, I can. How do I get on your site?
Right. So you go down to our homepage, you go to add listing, and then from there you create your username and password, and then you put in your own pictures, your own description, your own biography, direct contact information. So we don't do any of the referral fees. We do charge, it's $100 a year for the businesses to be listed on the site. As far as the consumers go, it's free for consumers to use. I wanted them to be able to come in, find these veteran businesses, and get out, you know, grab their information and get in contact with them, rather than getting bombarded with random strangers who they don't really know who it is. Even though somebody left them a review on there, who knows where that review is really coming from. I have the same.
So is there a ratings review system built into this yet?
We do have that on there, and we do have it where people, you know, they verify it that they've actually used their services and this and that. So you don't have a crazy X putting on whatever stuff on somebody's listing. But my main thing is I wanted to keep it personal, where it's not just names on a website. It's actual, you can see the person, you get a little bit better of a feel for them. I like to have them tell a little bit of their military background. One thing too is every listing that's on the VRV is vetted through ID.me. So everybody we know is a pure veteran on that website that owns that business.
So there's a DD 214 verified.
That through the ID.me, a lot of people do take in the DD 214s, and I don't want to mess around with that because that's got people's personal information on it. So then you got to start having secure servers and all that stuff, and they can be manipulated very easy. I've actually had 5 businesses that we filtered out that were saying that they were veteran owned. Come to find out they're not.
I was going to ask that. How do you figure that out?
Yeah. So through that ID.me, until we can find a better way to actually make sure we know who's on the other end of that computer. The ID.me is the one that we're using right now to verify. And everybody who's a vet, what is it, after the Vietnam, I think it's, I forget the actual date, but pretty much Vietnam vets and after, everybody's in that DoD system through ID.me that checks. And everybody who's probably listening to this that's a vet knows of ID.me.
Right.
So, yeah. But yeah, so we have that, and that's the core website there in itself. And then beyond, I always say we're more than just a website, because we obviously have our social media if you're not following us in there. Or
so the one thing that like this is where we met, and which I really liked is the social piece of this, the actual in-person thing. Talk a little bit about what you guys are doing there.
So I wanted to be more than just a website where we're boots on the ground pushing out these businesses, from vendor booths to socials to networking. These things are huge to me. When going through with my other business, I would go to networking events, and I was looking for more of a community support type environment where they're really helping each other out. And I really wasn't getting that. I was getting a lot of people that were just trying to sell me their product for like a half hour and didn't really care about me. So, which is fine. I get what they're doing their thing, but I wanted more substance. I wanted more, I guess, almost like a family type environment, if that makes sense. So what we do is we do these socials, and we do them, or networking events, depending on the venue, but we do it at different veteran-owned businesses, no matter what they are. We've been from breweries to coffee houses to we were at Rampage Room where you go and break stuff.
Oh, I want to do that.
No, dude, it was great. We're at Farmers Insurance. So it's just, it's totally different where these guys, some of these places don't advertise that they're veteran owned, and this gives them a different avenue to open up their doors. So what's been great is our very first one, I was worried. So, well, let me tell you this too. So we've only started this 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, we had our very first social about 3 weeks after we opened the doors.
And where was that? What state was that in?
So it was in Colorado Springs. Yeah.
Okay.
So this all started in Colorado Springs, and my whole goal was to have a listing outside of Colorado within 6 months. And right now, we had our last week when we met.
Right.
That was our first social outside of Colorado. That was in Utah,
and that was a good time. I mean,
it was good.
There was at least 40, 50 people show up?
40, 50. And if we didn't have the hiccup, I don't know if you heard, when we tagged Keyhome Mac, and this was what's kind of hard with being out of state, but we did it at this government contracted facility that's owned by a veteran. Right. Absolutely incredible. But we tagged Keyhome Mac with the address on Facebook. Come to find out, like, started the event at 5 o'clock. That address was their old address on the other side of town. So we lost like 30 to 40 people just on, and it was a Saturday night too. And I get it when, you get the tagline of a networking event. Who wants to give up their family time to go to a networking event on a weekend?
I did.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, I think we would have had a poll if the address was right. I think we would have had a minimum of 100 people in there. And for our very first time in Utah, I think that's absolutely incredible.
There's a huge vet community, and we actually got a couple vets that even work on our Project Tusk. So, I mean, it's like there's a lot of people here that support the military. And so how many states do you have? Like, so is it like a chapter kind of thing, or how many states are these? How are the social piece of this? How many states do you have that going in now?
So with that first one that we had in Colorado Springs here, we brought out 30 people, which was, I was mind blown. I was like, if I have 5, then we're golden. But we ended up having like 30, and I was like, sweet. So, and at these events too, they're open. They're not, you sit down and get preached at. We do a little spiel about the VRV and whatever business is hosting it there, so they get highlighted. But the rest of the time, it's open. We want to be welcoming to everybody, not only the veterans, but the community around it. So once these started rolling, they started snowballing. So people were like, where are you guys going next? Where are you guys going next? Even in Utah, the one we were in Utah, they're like, well, where are you guys going after this one? So it's kind of cool where people look forward to seeing which business is going to be highlighted next. It's always going to be a different atmosphere. It's always going to be, but you're going to have the same supportive group of people there. so not only are you going to have the VRV like members or entrepreneurs, we've been pulling in like active duty civilians, but people that are kind of looking for jobs, people that want to pick the brains of these business owners, where they're not just somebody standing on the other side of the counter trying to sell them something. They're really out and about, and it's fun because I think these guys, especially like people like me, I'm a sponge to people that have had their hands dirty and gone through the crap and making success, you know, with their business or whatever it is in life. I just attach onto them a whole lot more than, you know, somebody who's paid to like contracted to come down and preach to me about how I need to be an entrepreneur, if that makes sense.
Well, being an entrepreneur is a mindset, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
and it takes a lot of courage. And here's the thing, like I've kind of been in around the entrepreneur world, but I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. Most of my adult life, I've been an entrepreneur of one form or another, done a lot of different things. But what I found is that the mindset of being an entrepreneur is very different than most people in society. A very small segment of society is willing to be an entrepreneur because there's risks. I mean, and I think if I had to hear like the number one excuse people make for not starting a business is like, well, I couldn't not have a paycheck every week or every other week. It's like the number one thing you hear about people. Yeah. And it's nonsense anyway. It's like, okay, you need to learn how to manage your money better or something if that's your problem. But it's like, but it's scary to people not have that support, right? And I think entrepreneurs are a different breed. And I think that's why a lot of vets do take to that, because being an entrepreneur, at its core, what's being an entrepreneur, right? It's like uncertainty.
Right.
Am I going to fail?
Right.
Am I going to look stupid to my family? Am I going to go broke? Am I not going to make it? Am I, there's all these fears, right? And so for people that can like, one, just kind of manage all that stress, because trust me, there's different levels of being an entrepreneur. Like, I think at least with me, as first is you get your side hustle, right? You got like a normal kind of day job,
right.
And you're just kind of doing something on the side, and then you learn how to handle the taxes, and you learn how to register an LLC, but you're still not really making a living from it. And then, and I think the next big leap, and this is the hard one, I think, at least it was a hard one for me, is like becoming a full-time entrepreneur, like, and making a living as an entrepreneur. That's even if you're just like own your own job, right? You're just a solopreneur. That's like the big leap, and that's a hard stage. It was a hard stage for me. I was like a side hustle entrepreneur for years before I like, okay, I'm gonna take this risk and jump over. And then I think like one of the next phases of being an entrepreneur is like getting your first employee and dealing with payroll and the next level of administration, paperwork, and then growing in multiple locations. I mean, it's like it's a journey. Like, and one thing about being an entrepreneur, one, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that's where vets.
That's a very good point.
Vets are used to being uncomfortable, and they're used to uncertainty. So I think, and it's even think about like, and I think special forces guys are more wired that way because they're trained to be, there's like big army, right? Like it's like, oh, you got all this support and logistics behind you, but then you got like the SOCOM guys, and they're like, whatever. I don't shave. I don't get to shave. Those guys, right? But those guys make good entrepreneurs because they're used to that uncertainty, and they're used to like adapting. And I think that's why I think a lot of vets, especially I know a lot of special forces kind of guys that are vets now, and it's because they are just trained to deal with the same things an entrepreneur are going to deal with. Now that doesn't mean that other vets.
No.
But I think there's certain skills there, and I think that's what I really like about supporting what you're doing with supporting the vets coming in.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, it's funny you said that because I think my last 3 businesses were all Army Rangers. It's funny. So, but no, it's a big step because one, these guys, we kind of talking about it earlier, but one, coming out of the military, no matter how many years you've got in, you could have these 11 Bravos in the Army that infantrymen, what skills are they going to use in the civilian sector? And man, you get so scared, you get worried, especially if you have a family. So then, you're like, I'm going to be starting up this business, and man, you got to come in all in and have the force and drive and motivation to do it. And I think that's where a lot of the military traits and what we were trained to do really comes into play with everything. Because I tell you what, my guys, any of my guys I could call up, they're going to be answering their phones. They're going to be, everything's going to be honest and have all their integrity, and they're going to be putting their heart into everything they do. And that's what I think I love the most, is seeing the work that these guys are doing, the heart and passion that's within it. Because it's great. They've seen war. They've seen, some of them haven't, but they've seen just a different side of the world that so many haven't. And then they really want to pursue their dreams and make something, their goals, I guess, are a little bit different or more straightforward of what they want to accomplish. And they set their mind to it and go, and it's crazy.
So what are you seeing? Are you tracking the number of vet-owned businesses that are from disabled vets or vets that have suffered, like you have a little bit with the medical issues?
No, we don't. Everybody, to us, it's a vet. A vet's a vet. It was kind of hard for me too when we were starting this, because one thing that was big, I was like, do I allow people with dishonorable discharges in on the website? And I'm like, what do we do? Because obviously I was in for a while, came across your people that, not your people, but people.
I don't have those people.
that weren't fit for the military and weren't too fit in, in kind of any environment. But, a lot of these guys, they might have had dishonorable discharge, but it was maybe something personal that happened. There might have been other factors going into that, and who am I to judge? So as long as you've served and you've earned that veteran status, I welcome you onto the website. So
the on the website, do you have a list of where all the meetups are and the social things? Or is that tracked right now?
On the website, we will be adding that on the website, because honestly, I didn't think these would pick up this big right now. So that actually goes back into the chapter thing. If you're looking for our events and stuff, follow us on social media. Our Facebook is where we post all the events up, but I will have like a blog type post on the website where we will announce our events on there. Like I said, we just started 6 months ago, and these just started lighting up everywhere. And people, what I love about the VRV is I didn't want to have it locked down where these are the rules. This is the amount of people that can be in, saying at socials or networking events. I wanted it to be open, because what might work here in Colorado may not work over in North Carolina or California, wherever. So what we did is we opened up different chapters. We've got a Utah chapter. We've got a North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, North California, 2 in Texas, 1 in Midland.
North California?
Yes, Northern California. So that's, it's kind of, I call them up there, I call them our closet veterans because they can't really, just different up there.
I think you got to be careful on how you use the in the closet and veterans thing. I don't know if that's legal now or illegal now. I'm not sure if that's illegal or legal.
I don't care. They're closet veterans. They can't be super proud. So they can be, but they can't.
We're going down a rabbit hole with that.
No, we're not. Yeah. So, and then we have our other Phoenix chapter going, but
so this is all in 6 months. They're already popping up all over the country then. 6
months. And it was funny because we thought California was going to light up first. We thought we were going to be in SoCal with San Diego, Ventura. We were thinking we were going to be over there. And then out of nowhere, man, North Carolina hit us up. And also it was Defender Ammo. I don't know if you're familiar with Defender Ammo, but
not yet.
They're a veteran-owned company. Look them up. And then there's the Rock Guns. The Rock Guns is on our listing. Defender Ammo isn't on us just yet, but the Rock Guns is. And they were looking for a way to open up their doors to do a social or something like that. They're like, why don't we use the VRV name? And I was like, let's do it. So it's kind of funny because they were like, hey, we don't kind of how do we advertise this? How do we get some other veteran businesses in there? So I was like, well, I'll just do a little Facebook post or an Instagram post and see what we get. Within 2 days, this went from like a maybe Wednesday, Thursday night thing where I was hoping to pull like 30 to 40 people, went into, seriously within 2 days, to like people were wanting an all-day event where I was having people bringing down race cars to showcase, a country music singer coming out. I had a gentleman, actually probably 3 weeks ago now, I still had a gentleman text me at like 2 a.m, message me what the guest speaker list is going to be for this veteran conference that's taking place. I'm like, holy cow. So we had to take it where the rock guns is still going to be highlighted, but what we're doing is we're moving it from the rock gun store and we're going to this place called Dirtbag Ales, which is a veteran-owned place, and they are opening up this farmers market type venue that seats like 250 people. They got like 6 acres. I think they have a ball field on there. So we're going to be out there from 1 to 5 on the 25th of May outside of, that's just outside of Fort Bragg or Fayetteville in North Carolina. So that one's going to be a good one. And it was funny because there was so much talking, so much, all of a sudden everybody was bringing this thing up. They're like, do we need to go to the Hilton Conference Center? I was like, no, not yet.
That gets expensive now. We just put on a month ago. We just put on a crypto conference here, where we ended up having about 100 people show up, but we had speakers and people flying in from all over the country and stuff. So yeah, I know what it's like to organize events. It's stressful, and when you start getting into venues, now it starts getting it's only $4 or $5 grand for that one thing or that other thing. Starts getting the logistics start getting a little crazy. So so these like networking things, are these going to be like once a year kind of things or like monthly things? What is the frequency of them?
We out here in Colorado Springs, we do a monthly. Obviously, I'm down here, so I'm pushing hard with this stuff. And really, they've kind of picked up on their own steam where people are coming up like, hey, let's do it at my place next. Let's do it at my place next, because they see the value that we're bringing. We don't charge. That's the thing with this, speaking of logistics. We don't charge anybody for these. I'm sure that's going to change in the future depending on the venue that we're at.
Right.
My main thing is for the VRV members themselves, I'm not charging them any vendor booth fees or anything like that. So every time we have a VRV event, these guys can come down and showcase their stuff, sell their stuff. I don't care. I want them getting business. But later on down the road, because obviously, this stuff is not cheap. So we'll have to see how we're going to work that stuff out. But my main thing is I want to keep everything as cheap as possible for these veteran business owners, because I do not want to lose sight of these small guys whatsoever. The more I can help them out, the better it is for them, the better it is for me. And with that too, we've got a big thing. Actually, I can say, August 11th, we've teamed up with the local CVMA here. It's the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association. It's called Mission to Zero. And what we're doing is taking over the town of Green Mountain Falls, which is at the base of Pikes Peak, which I'm staring at right now. And we're going to take over Pikes Peak too. So we're shutting down Pikes Peak. They're going to ride the big highlight is going to be the motorcycle ride from the Green Mountain Falls to the summit of Pikes Peak, which is exactly 22 miles, which is pretty incredible. So it's obviously
I've done that drive myself a few times.
Yeah, there you go. So it's to raise awareness for veteran suicides. The proceeds are all going to Battle Forged Nation. And my thing is I want to line up because we're renting out the park over there. I just want to light it up with veteran-owned businesses out there. So it could be absolutely huge. This will be the inaugural one on August 11th. So anybody that's listening, feel free to contact me. Love to have you guys out there. But I think this thing could be pretty monstrous. And only with this first one, but then as years to come, I think it'd be great.
I'm gonna have to try to come out for that. That sounds like a good time.
Absolutely, yeah, it'll be great. So, and I do want to do a thing for like the day before for like my VRV guys, where we can all get together, just have a barbecue and picnic, and everybody get together. Because really, like honestly, Rob, these guys, what started with this VRV with the directory and listings and all that, and I don't know if you got that vibe with us just starting down in Utah, but it's really become. There's networking communities, and then it's really grown into almost like a family. Like I seriously could pick up my phone and call any one of these VRV members in my listing, and we just start talking like the way you and me are right now, like we've known each other like for years. And it's so great because they all reach out the same to me, to them, where whatever they need help with. So. Yeah,
well, I think that's wonderful. So before we wrap up here, I'm going to post your socials when we post this video. So get up, but just so for the people that are, hearing this, where can people find out more?
So obviously the website, and it's black and white on it, veteransreferringveterans.com. And within that, my phone number is on there. If you want to give me a call, 719-440-3321. You give me a call, just don't make it too late. I'm on mountain time. So I do get a few that's like, it's like 4 a.m. here. I don't know. But anyways, you can do that. All of our social medias are the same, well, except for Twitter, but veteransreferringveterans.com. You can see our logo. It's the tan logo with the VRV with the eagle within the R there. And then our Twitter is like Veteran Refer 1, I believe.
Yeah, we
So
got to fix that.
when I was setting up Twitter, it was I still don't understand Twitter.
I'll tell you about Twitter.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, buddy. Thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed this. I really like what you guys are doing, and I look forward to seeing you guys grow.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, and thanks for your support and supporting veteran businesses, dude. I love it. So thank you.
I'm a believer, man. You have a great day.
Right on. You too.
Thank you for listening to the Rob McNealy program. Make sure you check us out on the web at robmcnealy.com and subscribe to our podcast at YouTube, iTunes, and on the Google Play Store.